Welcome back to another episode of Strife's Talking Points, where I try and reason through the world as I see it on the internet. And today we have a little story here from Vox News. This is amazing to me. Anti-Trump protesters in London harassed and assaulted Trump supporters. At one point, an elderly man was thrown on the ground. Oh my God, is Vox saying that anti-Trump people are violent? I really can't believe it here. Completely shocked, staggered. I really don't know what to think here. So we're going to go through it. Thousands of demonstrators gathered in London to protest Donald Trump's UK visit this week, but instead of successfully bothering the president, they settled for a much darker consolation, severely harassing Trump supporters. What? I'm really not sure. I'm reading Vox again up here, Vox News, Vox.com. Holy crap! Did they just admit that their people are being violent and harassing people? The anti-Trump group protesters in the British capital's government district hope to disrupt Trump's Tuesday meetings with members of the royal family and ongoing Prime Minister Theresa May, outgoing. Trump is there in Britain for the 75th anniversary of D-Day, the ending of World War II. Many expected the crowds to surpass last year's gathering, which would have served as another powerful rebuke by citizens of a country that almost universally disliked the president. Except that's not true. This guy here and the Brexit Party are the number one polling group in the UK. These are the people that are moving forward. And keep in mind that 90% of all media attention to Trump is negative. It's negative. It's generally made up stories. It's poor framing. It's just what's going on. But a massive security presence and the lack of novelty led to a smaller showing this year. So not as many people came out. It seems. They're saying it seems that way. This made it harder for demonstrators to make their signs of stand up against Trump, make racist afraid again. And again, there needs to be some quote where Trump's being racist, because he wasn't considered racist until he disliked President Obama and he went after Obama under the birther thing, which I still think is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard of. It wouldn't really have mattered. He was the son to a U.S. citizen, and that's kind of the thing where if you're born abroad, you are still a citizen of the U.S. if your parents were. Anyway, doesn't matter. And dumped Trump visible to the president, so there weren't as many of them. Trump, of course, took all that to mean the size of the crowds was negligible. It wasn't. They're just saying that, and that most people actually favored him. Nope. Although, through the elections in the UK, you're seeing a massive rise in people who are against the UK news, the BBC. I've already covered, there's a show I did yesterday that showed the BBC actively government-sponsored television actually had the Trump baby balloon on TV. It was hilarious looking. I find it very funny that they do that, but that's the actual state-run media in Britain. But ignoring reality, Trump actually missed the event's biggest story, the horrid treatment of some of his supporters. Oh my goodness. The anti-Trump people were being bad. While the protesters were mainly peaceful, those extremely frustrated with Trump's policies turned their vitriol into the president's face. Now, in the UK, to my knowledge, Trump is not president. Now, correct me if I'm wrong there. Trump's U.S. policies don't directly affect Britain. That's just my knowledge, because I can't think of the last time the Queen of England or the Prime Minister of England really did anything to affect my life. So yeah. When you act like that, you act like Donald Trump. I don't even know what that means. Oh, making what should have been a peaceful protest into a disturbing and at times even violent affair. When you act like that, you act like Donald Trump. Donald Trump doesn't encourage violence. Donald Trump is to my knowledge, mostly selfish person. He's only looking about how things reflect on himself, and to my knowledge, he's never jumped out and attacked people, never called for attacks. He is kind of trying to do some subliminal boycotts of AT&T and CNN because they literally produce fake stories constantly about what's going on. They frame everything strange. They had their love affair with Russiagate, which turned out to be completely nothing. They are pushing obstruction, all these things, and he's not calling for any violence. But anyway, it's worth noting that people on both sides were out in the streets for different reasons. Many of those who came out to support Trump surely liked him personally, but some were there to show appreciation for his pro-Brexit and hardline immigration stance. Now, saying limiting immigration, removing economic migrants, and focusing on refugees is not really a hardline stance. That's the Democratic stance from 10 years ago, 6 years ago. It's only in the last 3 years that it's been considered hardline. Similarly, most of those chanting against Trump don't like him or his policies, which don't really go into the UK. But many were there also to protest against fascism in general. Now, Trump is not a fascist. I have seen nothing in my life to show me that Trump is acting like a fascist. It's just insane. He's there to celebrate the D-Day, the destruction of the fascists, and they're attacking him as a fascist because they want to be socialists. They want to, I don't know what they want to do. It's just wild. In one instance, anti-Trump protesters surrounded an identified man in London's Parliament Square while chanting "Nazi scum off our streets" directly in his face. The incident was captured by someone on video there. Let's see if it's a short clip. Now, this woman is purely off her rocker. This guy is standing there. Milkshake comes flying in. There it is. Throw things, attack the people you disagree with, because that's it. When the person wielding the camera asked a blonde woman in the anti-Trump group why she treated the man this way, she responded, because he's a blank Nazi. This is probably just a middle-class British man, an Englishman. And you can see her smiling that he got hit with the thing. He throws it back. The police are there. Look at everybody cheering, clapping. This is left-wing political violence. It's unclear how the incident started or what, if anything, the man may have said to anger the crowd. He probably just said Trump isn't that bad. That is a thing that is going on now, and people are going nuts over it. These extreme left liberal cities are starting to crumble because the media can no longer support their outrage, and they're just going nuts. Here's another one. How nice of that. I mean, look, this is what's going on. If the anti-Trump's crown goal was to openly and loudly show Trump the error of his ways, then the protesters failed miserably. The error in this case was clearly theirs. Oh my God. Vox just called out violent leftist protesters in an article. I'm completely astounded. I don't know what to make of it. This is crazy town now. Situation got so bad. Holy crap. Is there any comments on that? No, of course there's no comments on it. Can you believe that a Vox story is actually centered? Look at that. A white guy in suits, black people, all Trump 2020 make liberals cry again. That's pretty funny. I like humor. I'll accept that as a funny shirt. I still think the hat's kind of stupid. My favorite hats like that actually say, I believe John Oliver made them, "Make America Great Britain Again." I find that funny. I don't find "Make America Great Again" funny because it's not meant to be humorous. It's meant to be something. Anyway, my personal take on that. Nigel Farage reacts to anti-Trump protests in London. President Trump early Wednesday called out corrupt media for reporting on what he saw as a paltry protester turnout during his trip to the UK. Said if there was actually fair news about his successes in office, he would be dominating in the polls. Now, again, 90% of the media against Trump is against Trump. They produce negative story, negative story, negative story. They do not generally chase any actual stories. And as they've said themselves, they are not journalists. They are merely talking about stories. The framing they have is very much to what they want to show. And overall, people are becoming aware of bias, which is where independent creators, YouTube, my favorite YouTuber is Tim Pool, who does the Timcast show. I think his shows are excellent. And you're just seeing that the break from traditional media is coming, and people are getting tired of it. They're getting out of it, and these channels are fighting for viewers. They're trying to secure funding. They're attacking YouTube now, trying to shut them down. Does this give me his video? I was trying to, of course not. Yeah, I bet it's going to be a 10-minute commercial. I watched this a second ago and it worked, and now it doesn't. Yeah.
My body can still make its own insulin. And once weekly...
Yeah, it's not going to give me the video. It's going to give me a commercial for something that I don't know what it is. Anyway, Nigel Farage's party has taken over in the UK. It has been a huge, to quote the president, huge thing over there. And Britain is finally moving to Brexit, with the Brexit party being the number one party. I believe soon enough you'll see the elections come in Britain, and which the main party will probably be a group of Brexiters. They are really just ready to go. There's also this part here about the nasty comment about Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle said she was going to leave the U.S. if Trump won, as one of dozens of starlets and Hollywood people and actors and media personalities who said they were going to leave. And he just says, well, I didn't know she was nasty like that, referring to the comment she made about leaving the U.S. That is all he was talking about. He didn't call her nasty. He called the comment she made nasty, and then he's like, well, I mean, she's doing very well for herself. That was it. That's the entire story. And of course, the media pushed that as he said horrible things. The new version of reality should be one movie, 2 screens, 3 screens. If you're reading these quotes, you need to start looking at it from the 3 sides. If you're on the conservative side, the studies show you can understand the liberal position. If you're on the liberal position, you can't understand anything other than the liberal position. Those are what the studies are actually showing. However, I'd like to postulate that there is a third group in here. There are moderates and liberals who have been so disaffected by the storm of lies, deception, fake stuff out there that we are holed in the middle. I personally cannot support these far left insanity that I see going on now, where we are told that these people are so horrible that we can't tolerate their existence. And then the only things we have to show that they're doing horrible things are stories which quote other stories, which quote other stories that have no basis in factual nature. The both sides comment that we heard forever ago referring to the Charlottesville rally. Mainstream media wants to present to you that in Charlottesville there were only fascists and anti-fascists. There were literally dozens of organizations and groups there. Liberal organizations, conservative organizations, right-wing people, left-wing people, and then you had the 2 more violent groups. I would say that 2 more violent groups that fought each other, but the protests there had happened before and there was no violence. It was only when Antifa got involved that violence erupted and someone died. Because people getting attacked on the streets, the extreme of the extreme pops out of that, and then you have someone die. That is the truth of the both sides comments, is you have dozens of groups in an area to talk, to protest, to make their voices heard, and the media focuses on one comment instead of going to the end of the thing where he condemned all white nationalism, all Nazis, all of them. The condemnation is in that exact same interview, press statement, whatever, but the both sides comment is the only comment you'll ever hear. And the framing is that there were only two parties there. Over time, people have learned that that is false. The narrative story you're being given is breaking down. People are starting to understand. UK, Nigel Farage has taken over. Theresa May is out. If you see elections in Great Britain soon, I bet you will see a much more right-leaning group of people. As you've seen throughout most of Europe, these groups are gaining strength because the media narrative breaks down. And seeing Vox News produce a story which is anti-Trump protesters, anti-Trump protesters, not sure how to say that, which is calling out anti-Trump protesters for their violence, for their harassment, for their bad behavior. The world is now upside down. Thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. I would really like to know what you think, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.